Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. Now y'all know how rusty I am. Y'all know how rusty I am with this StreamYard. So I'm going to ask you to be patient. I'm going to go live on Instagram. I'm going to ask you to be patient with me throughout this process of coming to you live once a week. I believe the time that we all chose was, I think it's 7 p.m. on Sunday evenings. That is what I believe everyone agreed to. So I think that's what it's going to be. I'm going to go live weekly on Sunday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm excited. I'm going on this journey with you all, which is just having this weekly wisdom, and we're going to review some things. We're going to have some guests. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. My hope is that it will inspire you to make some positive changes in your life. So, thank you so much to everyone who has chosen to kind of rock with me. So, we're kicking off today live with our first guest. Her name is Maggie, the substitute teacher. Some of you all know her from YouTube, from Instagram. She's on TikTok. I don't deal with TikTok. Y'all know how I feel about that. But she has a clip that is going viral. So let me give you a little taste of Maggie, and then we're going to welcome her up. All right.
Question. You asked about body count, coming back to body count, which was the last prompt. And you said, why do men want a woman with a low body count? And the answer is because we're not equal. And again, this is going to always be the fallacy and the flaw with feminism, because you're going to be fighting for an equality that does not exist. I'm not saying better or worse. I'm saying we are different. Now, it depends on what you want intimacy for. If you want to be out there doing it with everybody, you absolutely have your right to do that. Please be loud and proud. We want to see you coming. The men love women like that to have fun with. However, when you talk about love, when you talk about marriage, when you talk about a committed relationship, most of us, when you get to your old age, usually you have one, if you're lucky, like me, two great loves. You don't think about the string of casual sex that has been promoted and think of that like, man, I really got it all in. Most of us don't. You're free to do that if you want to, but I'm just saying, as we age, what's going to really matter is the relationships, the marriages, the families, the relationships that meant something, the intimacy that meant something. You can do as much as you want to with whoever you want to, but I do agree, the way casual sex is promoted now, it is hurting us. It may be fun in the moment, but it's going to hurt us, and we're all going to pay the price for it.
All right. So you heard it here. I'm going to give Maggie her flowers and read her bio so you can know a little bit more about her, but we're going to ask some questions a little bit more about her. So Maggie, the substitute teacher, was born Margaret Appiah in Ghana, West Africa. I hope I said that correctly. Her family immigrated to the United States to pursue higher education when she was only 1 year old, and she grew up in the college town of Athens, Georgia. As her parents pursued 2 PhD degrees, Maggie's active childhood was simple, humble, and loving. Always hardworking and smiling, she enjoyed school-related activities before coming home to a traditional nuclear family. Maggie's mom was her first example of a productive home life. She worked, went to school, and served dad and family every day. Maggie thought this was just normal. From early childhood, Maggie understood that family and relationships are the priority. She learned to wash, cook, clean, and date with intention. By 18, she had a steady boyfriend that she married after college. 10 years and 2 kids later, Maggie struggled to keep her marriage together with the demands of corporate America and a modern women can do anything mindset. Unfortunately, Maggie's marriage ended in divorce, but she and her ex-husband co-parent their 2 teenage sons well. Since then, Maggie has done a lot of work to stay feminine in her second relationship. In addition to her online cooking channel, Maggie is passionate about sharing the truth with young women that we can do anything, but not everything. So choose wisely and communicate effectively. Maggie, the substitute teacher, is passionate about food and femininity in her daily live streams. All right, y'all. Thank you. As I got through that, I had to read it from my phone because my printer is not working. Please welcome Maggie, the substitute teacher.
Hey everybody.
All
Hi
right,
Anita.
I gotta work on my I got to work on my sounds.
Uh,
But everybody knows that I am working hard on building this channel. My YouTube channel's been in existence for about 6 years, but this live show is brand spanking new this year. So I'm a little rusty. I've been having people help me with my live stream. How are you, Maggie? How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Anita.
Okay,
Thank you for
great,
having me.
great. Thank you so much for joining.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that Dr. Daff, that clip is blowing up over on Instagram, but share with my listeners just a little bit about you, your story, anything you feel comfortable sharing.
Mhm. Well, hello everybody. Good afternoon. So glad to be here with you all. Anita read my resume. So I guess, like she said, I'm passionate about food and femininity. I always say I'm just a mom on the internet, first and
Mm.
foremost of all the accomplishments. And I've had a lot of professional accomplishments and accomplishments on paper. But since turning 50 last year, life just has a seriousness now about what we spend our time doing. And I have had this impetus to really help younger women. I see myself, my younger headstrong self, in a lot of younger women. And so that's the position that I come from as far as trying to get in front of those mistakes that we can make that we don't realize it's going to take us off course. So that's what I'm passionate about. It's part of my brand, if you will, but I still say I have a cooking channel because that's how all of this started.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So your platform started with your cooking channel.
Yeah.
That was back in 2022, roughly.
Mhm.
You were documenting your weight loss journey and substituting the foods in your diet.
Mhm.
Tell me about what that journey has been like from then until now.
Oh my goodness. I always say, I don't know why anything I say has gone viral. I go viral on accident. But for anybody who doesn't know me or doesn't know the journey, like Anita said, I started with a cooking channel. It was a pandemic hobby that took off. I started
Mhm.
really, I was always cooking. Like I said, I've been cooking since I like to say 1842 when my mom had me in the kitchen with her. And I would just cook for the family and then I would post the finished product online starting on Facebook. And I think I have a knack for presentation, and we all eat with our eyes first. And so people started asking in the comments of the post, did you make that? How did you make that? What ingredients did you use? So I was just going back and forth and responding in the comments. And then one day I decided, let me just go live and show people what I'm already doing. Like a lot
Mhm.
of people, I struggle with my weight. And so it's something that I accept. This is something I'm going to have to stay on top of. So I'm just documenting it in a way that may be helpful to others.
Awesome. Okay. And clearly you've met your weight loss goal and you're staying fit and healthy. So that's exciting. All right. Tell me a little bit about the pivot that you made from like your cooking skills. You also had a finishing school, or you might still have a finishing school, but you talk about relationships and femininity.
I know. And no, I'm not yet at my goal. Hopefully I'll
Okay.
get there. I've been kicking that can for way too long. So I have to be very transparent. In 23, I believe it was, I was actually invited to London to be a guest on the Just Pearly Things show. At the time, she had an offshoot that she was doing called Wife School. And she was taking herself and I guess other women through the reins of what is needed to be a good wife. And so I had an opportunity through the lead attorney to shoot my shot. And I told her, when you get to the cooking portion of your wife's school, I would love to teach that part.
Mm.
So she took me up on it. I flew out to London. We actually did film the cooking portion. It's still on live right now. I had a great time. That's
Awesome.
what I went there for, and I was going to be done with it. But I did get some really good advice from TLA at the time. He said, if you're already in London, just kind of stay around because you never know what else might happen. And
Mhm.
sure enough, after the cooking portion during the day, she was doing a podcast in the evening, and she asked me, would you like to join the podcast? Now, in my opinion, I've never been on one of these. I don't know what it's about, but when in Rome, I said, well, while I'm
Yeah.
here, I might as well try. So we got all suited and booted, and then I'm sitting in this room with her and with MTR and with Melanie King and people I know and people I don't know. And I'm just listening to the conversation about relationships, and having had my own struggle trying to keep everything together, putting career
Mhm.
first, and then having a second chance in love with someone from my childhood, I
Mhm.
realized the changes that I had to make in order to maintain a relationship. So, long-winded version of when there was a break in the conversation, I offered my opinion about what I thought the issue was between men and women giving advice. And
Mm.
that was the very first clip that went viral, where I said, older women see themselves as younger women compared
Mhm.
to men see themselves in younger men. I
Mhm.
didn't really think anything was that earth shattering. We did the podcast. I came back home, put my apron on because I have a cooking channel, and
Mhm.
editor to clip up my speaking portions because that was like a 3-hour podcast and I only had a few speaking portions. And so I said, let's clip up the portions where I was speaking, and I want to share that with my audience so people can see, hey, I did this podcast thing. Posted it, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and it was just everywhere. And that was my first experience going viral. So to
Yeah.
answer your question, people started reaching out like yourself,
Yep.
asking me to come talk about relationships. And it's just kind of been brought into what I already do. And that's why I say I make food and femininity content.
Okay. Well, I love it. And it's needed, especially in this space. We've seen relationships between men and women devolve even further, in my humble opinion, since then. And it's making me sad
Yeah.
that now, I said it last night. I was on a live panel show last night, and I said, the marketing for marriage is horrible right now. Like, no one wants to get married.
Mm.
And there's a lot of good reasons why that is. I'm not saying that the men don't have their reasons or the women don't have their reasons, but we've seen, the relationship between men and women become very adversarial. And it's really, really sad.
Yeah.
So how have people responded to you online on across all of your platforms?
I am just overwhelmed and so appreciative. I have so much support. Of course, public support. I also have a lot of private support. People email me or inbox me
Mhm.
and tell me how they may, kind of ninja watch or watch from the clouds. And it's helped both men and women. And interestingly, I always believe, like I always say, the late, great Kevin Samuel said, we're
Mhm.
the older women to teach the young. I
Yep.
always approach teaching younger women because I feel I can relate to that. But in doing so, so many men, I believe, have been able to connect with what I say, and they have reached out as well. And so I'm just grateful to be a small support system.
Yeah, for sure. And that's interesting you say that about the older women teaching the younger women. So my
Right.
platform was started about 6 years ago, and Titus 2 is what my platform is based on. That's the scripture that I chose to base my platform on. So I'd love for us we're going to watch a video of Jenny Holland and her thoughts and opinions on this very thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect for us to react to when we think about the older women and the younger women. So I'm going to play her video.
That I followed recently features an awful, absolutely bristling with rage about the state of the world. In every post, she's barely holding it together, on the verge of hot, angry tears. It's just an incredible stream of negativity. She goes on about how horrible it is that her husband dares to try to calm her down. And I thought she was bad. Then I read the comments. The level of man-hatred in them was appalling. If it was men saying this stuff about women, they would be banned. One of the comments actually said, and I'm not joking, women see patterns of danger. Men are not used to seeing danger. What? So it was the rich, liberal women who kept humanity alive through wars and famines with their hot takes about the patriarchy? I feel sorry for these women who have never met any real men. It's really too bad for them. But when it comes down to it, I think that it is the role of the older woman to rein in the worst excesses of female behavior, not the role of the man. Obviously, men in relationships with women, especially raising daughters, have a huge amount of influence. But really, it's the job for the older women to keep the younger women with their extreme emotionality and extreme entitlement in check. The tough stuff should be left to the old ladies. It's very hard for a man to talk to a woman in a harsh way. It's very hard for a woman to hear criticism, and especially to hear criticism from the person who, in your mind, is supposed to love and cherish you. We're brought up to expect the man to be loving and cherishing and protecting, not criticizing and upbraiding or disciplining. But the older women have abandoned that responsibility, unless, of course, it was to tell white girls that they're to blame for slavery in the 19th century. But the message from mainstream culture these last 20 years is that girls should expect the world in return for just existing. Girls and women in the upper and middle class in America are not held to standards that past generations of women and girls were held to. Because at some point society decided it was really mean. And it was really mean. When I was growing up, there was still old women around who would openly criticize you for random things. You weren't speaking clearly enough. Your clothes were messy. You dragged your feet. Your hair was in your face. You put on weight. They were mean, these women, but it's time they made a comeback because we need to inject a little bit of humility back into our lives. So older women, let your judgments flow.
Oh gosh, I love that so much. And I guess I'm going to ask you this question, Maggie, because people know that I, in fact, do just that on my platform.
Mhm.
But what do you believe is the role of older women when it comes to younger women?
I do believe we have a responsibility. I think first our responsibility is to live by example and be that example. Or if you are not living the life that you are professing is the right way, you need to explain how you messed up. And I think the humility also starts with the older women. I believe in maintaining relationships first and foremost. And, you can be very direct, but also loving at the same time.
Mhm.
I do agree that we have to call out foolishness where it is. We have to say wrong is wrong and right is right. I don't believe in sugarcoating it, but I think for me, the delivery, if it's done in the wrong way, it can turn people completely off and then they miss the message. So to me, it's not worth it just to score a point if it's not actually helping.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I recently, just this year, I created a video where I asked people, hey, should I change my approach? Should I change my tone? Because I wanted to self-reflect. I had looked through some of my videos and I just wanted to self-reflect. My target audience is 18 to 35.
Mm.
And that's completely out of my generation. I'm 58. So I said, okay, I'm gonna reflect this year, y'all. I'm gonna see if I can sprinkle some sugar on it. And make it a little bit sweeter. But like you said, just trying to maintain the truth.
Yeah.
And that's to me is critical. I can't lie to the young women. I want to tell them the truth,
Yeah.
but I said, okay, I'm gonna work on sweetening it a little bit. Do you think younger women are receptive to the guidance of older women?
It depends. And I know nobody likes that answer, but my approach has been, now that I've explained how I got here, everything I do is in response to people asking me. I try to turn back to the cooking, and then people want to talk about relationships. So
Yep.
if you ask me a direct question, I'm going to answer. I have created some spaces where women can communicate with each other and they can get coaching from me. All of that has been by request. I don't think that imposing what we do on others is helping,
Right.
but if we are living the lives that others want for themselves, I think it's only human nature. My experience has been people ask, how did you get a man like that? Y'all have been together
Mhm.
15 years or you're married 10 years. Like, how do you make it work? That's the opportunity. That's the door opening where you can speak from your own experience. But I think the flaw, younger women, when they look at older women who are maybe trying to compete with them in the dating market, trying to
Mhm.
date the same men, trying to be just as cool as they were when when they were in their 20s, our ship has sailed. We are golden girls now, and I think we should
Mhm.
embrace that. So, yes, I have had so many younger women tell me that I've been a resource to them. However, there are just as many that say, be quiet, grandma, look at her, nobody
Right.
cares. You just ignore it and let life teach them.
Right. Yeah. No, I get something similar, but
Mhm,
I'm a loud and proud older woman. I
mhm,
tell younger women, I am not your competition. Not
mhm.
even close. I
Right,
don't I don't profess to be. I'm
right.
not going to dress, inappropriately. I'm not going to be in the club. I'm not going to be smoking hookah. I am a proud older woman. I have built a life I love. So I
Mhm,
can't imagine going back to those days. So I'm with you on that one. No, thank you.
mhm.
Okay, I'm going to take a moment. And y'all, like I said, y'all know I'm rusty. Okay. So, Dr. L has been helping me and other content creators, helping me with StreamYard. He likes to greet everyone as they come in. So I'm going to greet some folks now. Let's see. Highway 20 Skinny says hello. Um, Yoli, thank you. Says, hey, good afternoon. All right. Good afternoon, guys. There we go. Lost in Translation podcast says, hi, Maggie. All right. We're just going to say hello to some folks. But like I said, y'all, I'm struggling over here. I'm going to get there. All right. Keys,
Yeah.
3804. Maggie's the best. Okay. I'm trying to read from afar. Rhonda Payne. Hello, Maggie, the substitute teacher. Okay, we're bringing in some folks. Let's see, Brina, 1823. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you joining us. Okay, we got, let's see, Melanin Goddess Evolution. All right. She says, hello, Miss Anita. Hello, Maggie. Thank you. All right. Chasing Grace says, hello, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Like I said, y'all know I'm going to get it together. I'm going to get a groove or a rhythm. But this whole thing is new to me. And we're going to be going live every Sunday at 7 weekly. So hopefully it gets better as it goes along. But as I tell people, when I started my podcast back in 2020, I want to say the first 6 months, it sucked. It really did. It was awful. But when my podcast ended, I was a pro by then. So I always encourage people, I want to inspire people that if there's something you want to do, I want you to just do it. Like it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great and slick and, fancy, but just do it. I'm here to inspire you that at 58, I'm willing to learn StreamYard. Okay? I'm willing to learn editing. I'm willing to learn, all the things. So I'm here to inspire y'all that if there's something you want to do, just do it. All right. Dolores Catherine is coming to us. She says, good afternoon, Anita and Maggie. Good vibes. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. So, Maggie, we showed the clip from the Dr. Daff show. And this is your second time being on the show, correct?
Correct. I was
Okay.
there over a year ago. And when I go, we usually film 2 episodes. So this is the second trip, but I think the third filming.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about that experience. It was feminists versus anti-feminists. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I followed Michelle Daff for a long time. She is also actually from Ghana. And so that's what
Cool.
originally turned me on to her. And she used to make kind of more beauty content. And I
Mhm.
watched her journey, getting married, having her first son, and then now a baby girl. And so I've been a fan for a long time. And, the space is small, so people know each other, even if they don't,
Yeah.
say so in the comments. And I got an email from her team asking me to come out to LA. I'm in Atlanta, so I'm on the East Coast, asking me to come out to LA. And they have, the first time I went, it was a new show she was pitching. They've been doing it for a while now, called The Bridge. And
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's in the style. I don't watch much other content, but I think there's a show called Jubilee or something where you have different opposing viewpoints of various topics, right? So she was pitching the show that she was doing called The Bridge, and there's always, a pro side and a side that disagrees, and it's just a way to have conversation. So this one was feminist and anti-feminist, and she asked me to join. And so I went out to LA. I had a great experience. Again, we filmed this back in December. It's now February of 2026. So you never really know what's going to take off by the time they edit it. And you don't know who else is going to be there on the panel. You just know the side that you're going to represent. And she has questions, and then you answer the questions, and then defend your points. And so I just try to be consistent wherever I go and speak to whatever my values are. If you ask me in person, if you ask me on a podcast, if you ask me here, I'm the same Maggie. But I had a wonderful experience, and the exposure is great if people are looking for this type of content.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I loved part 1, part 2. I felt well represented by you as an older woman.
Thank you.
That's really important that we be that calm, in the storm.
Yeah.
I pride myself on being that too, is, not trying to incite or, I was talking to someone today where I said, yeah, we got to make sure that we maintain our ability to influence.
Mm-hmm.
Huge way we do that is we can't come in with judgment. We can't take shots because, see, if we do that, we lose our ability to possibly influence.
Right.
Something I've learned as I've gotten older,
Yeah.
that, my style is more open and curious and asking questions, as opposed to, being very like dogmatic or trying to bulldoze people. So I've learned that. So yeah, I was so glad. I was like, yes, this is what we do as older women. we
Right.
try to have a level of influence. So awesome. Okay.
It's true. I think we've all seen these podcasts or debates where it just dissolves into, something very embarrassing. And then that is what is remembered. And for me, it always comes from a position of, I'm really trying to be helpful.
Right.
I also want to lead by example. So if I'm coaching my students to communicate well, to think before you speak, to make sure that you keep your emotions in check, yet you see me on a platform, even if I feel very passionately about something, I am just completely neurotic about it. You shut off, and then you're just kind of in this, make it stop mode. And I don't think it's helpful, because then that's what you're remembered for. And how much social media do we see women having bad outbursts? And that's what people think of you long after the moment has passed.
I agree. I had the honor of going on a Red Pill podcast last year, Rich Cooper. And, he's been in this space. He's written The Unplugged Alpha. And it was interesting because, they will try to incite women's emotions.
Yeah.
And I didn't fall for it. Like, I wasn't falling for it. And when we were off camera, he was like, "Well, I gotta say, Miss Anita, like, you're the first woman I've had on my show in a long time that stayed cool, calm, and collected." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm not 21.
Yeah.
This ain't my first rodeo." So I was
It's
like, "Yeah,
And you bring up a good point. People will try to get a rise out of us.
yes,
We
yeah,
have an opportunity every day to be offended. And if you
yeah,
allow people to trigger you that easily, you're going to spend the rest of your life, punching back, punching
yep,
down, trying to clap back. And then
yep,
I guess if that's how you want to spend your time, but to me, it's just not useful. It's not a good
yeah,
example as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as any of those things. And I wonder sometimes a lot of these spaces, do they really want solutions or do they just want eyeballs?
right, right."
Mm.
And that's something that, I made a commitment to a long time ago. Some of my content goes viral, some of it hits a nerve, but I have tried to stay committed to not bashing other people, to not inciting other people. Like, I've really and I have even gone over my thread and deleted things that I was like, "Okay, is do I want this to be a part of my brand?"
Mhm.
Because you're right, I too don't wanna just give in
Yeah,
to what gets clicks, what gets eyes. I wanna be a person of integrity. I want to believe that I am actually helping.
yeah.
I wanna be on the side of really trying to improve, our community, women in general, because last summer, I was on someone's podcast and I said, "Yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel good to be a part of this gender." Like, sometimes I'm embarrassed, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
a part of this gender, some of the things that we say and do. And
Yeah,
and I was encouraged to just continue to be a good role model.
absolutely. I
So,
think that's the way that we fight it.
yep,
Some people, unfortunately, are gonna realize too late if they
yeah,
realize at all, and
yeah,
what I tell my students is you have to be willing to be that salmon swimming upstream and know that you're gonna go against the grain and be okay
right.
with that.
Yeah. No, I figured that out long ago. So, yeah, I'm so glad you're in this space.
Thank
Um,
you.
and you've collaborated with some great folks, some of the greatest. I mean, TLA is fantastic. Like, I know he's going through a health journey right now, a health issue right now, and my prayers are with him. But yeah, you've collaborated with some really awesome people. And
Thank you.
so keep going, keep growing. We need your voice in the space. And like I said, my goal also is to be an older content creator. I want to bring back class. I want
Yeah.
to bring back elegance and
Mhm.
all the feminine things. I want to bring shame back, so, so there are things that we as women are not doing.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and one of the reasons why when people ask me, like, "Why don't you support feminism?" And
Mhm.
I think one of the young ladies on the anti-feminist side alluded to this, where she said, "It doesn't support women."
Yeah, I'm not a scholar in this area, and I don't shoot off statistics because I don't wanna sound uninformed, but I think if we step back from trying to be so, forgive me, academic about
Mhm.
our life experiences. When you think about just the people that you run into,
Mhm.
unfortunately, the feminist movement, even if it started out with good intention,
Right.
if you close your eyes and think about a feminist today, it's not a woman that, in my opinion, prioritizes marriage and family. And for
Yep.
me, that is a hard stop. I
Yep.
think nuclear family, um, men and women, husbands and wives, moms and dads, boys and girls. I think that's where it all begins. And the older women that taught us and
Yep.
corrected us when we were young did that from their own lived experience. That's how it's been passed down from generation to generation. And I come from academia and I've got degrees and all of that as well. But the feminist movement right now is, I think, doing a damage to all women, and especially women in our community, because we need each other. We need our men. We need our family units. And I think about this often. I try not to go down that rabbit hole, but I was watching a documentary, and it's either Japan or Korea now is selling more adult diapers, baby diapers. So when you think about a society, and we've all read these stories, and you say, whatever happened to those people, whether it's, long ago, other civilizations, or in the Bible, or in past times, you say, whatever happened to those people? I don't want our community to be whatever happened to those people. They're not prioritizing the family unit. So it is that serious to me. And that for me is the reason we cannot get distracted with all of the other agendas that are vying for our attention.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And we know, the birth rate is slowly declining.
Right.
I, like you, and I've said this on every podcast I've ever been on. Marriage is the hill that I'm willing to die on.
Yeah.
We need strong families.
Yeah.
Strong families build strong communities.
Absolutely.
And that's my concern, is if the family dies, if marriage dies, if having children dies, what happens to us as a community, as a society?
Absolutely.
So it's scary.
It's really terrifying. And that's why, for me, when we see women acting badly, when we see women doing attention-seeking behavior online, it is a disturbing sight. It is a trend that I don't like. But for me and my efforts, I think it's better to promote the ones that are doing the right thing, to help those, because where my heart really goes to, coming up the way that I came up in a traditional nuclear family, mom and dad, African values, American raised, I didn't realize how much of an advantage that was for me, just having that example, eating dinner together as a family. We didn't have much, but we took road trips for vacations. I got married right out of college. Our vacations were to Six Flags. This perception that marriage is supposed to be this endless trips and trinkets, and just, somebody's supposed to fawn all over you. That's not real. And so when I see younger women that maybe they didn't have the example, maybe their mom is more of a professional or a boss babe kind of woman, and they're just trying to figure it out, those are the ones that I move heaven and earth for, because I'm like, you're trying to do the best that you can without any support, without an example. All your friends are telling you, girl, you don't need a man. Your hot girl summer turns into a hot girl decade. You think you can be out here and have all the experiences and do all those things. And then when you're good and ready, the man of your dreams is going to see a value in that, and you're wrong. And a lot of older women, unfortunately, by the time they come to me, they've spent 20 years or more doing it their way. And now it's not as valued to the men that you actually want.
Yeah. And that, here's the thing though, the thing that I'm seeing, and it's shocking, as someone, I was born in 68, and, we always, so if you all, I'm gonna take you all back to Whitney Houston, that the children are our future. Okay. So I'm hearing that song, and we always expected a future.
Yeah.
Right? We lived for the future. But here's what I'm seeing that's different in these newer generations. They are living for today.
Yeah.
They don't believe that they're going to wake up and be 58. Like, you're going to be 58.
I remember being young. Yeah, I mean, I think we can all remember when we thought 30 was old, right? And now we're 50 plus. And if we have our health, we may be a little slower with some things, but life really can begin and open up. I think, especially for those of us who made, I'm going to say, wise choices when we were young, this phase of life can be really sweet. It's Super Bowl Sunday. My man's coming over. I'll be cooking dinner, and we'll just watch the game and just enjoy a quiet night. I love that. Our oldest son is 17. The youngest is getting ready to graduate high school. And so one of the things that, again, was a benefit to me, the example that my parents set for delayed gratification. And you're not seeing that in a lot of young people today. But time is the greatest equalizer. You know, God willing, unless something tragic happens, we're
Yeah.
all going to wake up and be 50 one day. And that's one of the questions that Kevin Samuels used to ask women. What do you want life to look like when you're 40, 50, and 60? And a lot
Yeah.
of them, it was the first time they had actually thought about that. And I don't fault women as much for that, because you always hear me harping on the biology. I think women, our nature being fluid, we're very much in the moment, sometimes emotional, sometimes chaotic, but I think we're really strong in the present. I
Mm.
Men, one of the things that they bring, one of the things I love about my man is their decisiveness, their
Mm.
leadership quality, being able to set a vision, letting you know what the goal is, and having a plan, 1, 3, 5 year, 10, 20-year plan. That's why we need each other. And so women, when left to their devices, I'm sorry, but I don't see a lot of older women who have wasted their
Mm.
prime years celebrating it now. Now, a lot of them are kind of scrambling to find someone to take them seriously, because they realize you woke up and now you're 40, 45,
Yeah.
50, and
Yep.
do you want to work full time for the next 30 years? Do you have it in you? And I'm going to say, I know I don't. So,
Right. Right. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
mhm,
So I guess the greatest piece of advice that I have for younger women and young men is, like you just said, God willing, you're
yeah,
going to wake up and be 50, 60,
mhm,
70, 80. I'm
exactly.
shooting for 100.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
Mhm,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good thing. That's a
agree.
good thing. But you have to prepare. You have
Mhm,
to know how to grow old gracefully,
yes.
and you have to know how to grow wiser and not just older. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, grow wiser. Grow
Mm.
wiser. Okay? Learn from life. Life has lots of lessons to teach you if you just pay attention.
Agreed, and I think if you pay attention to the world around you as well, you can learn from your own experience. I think
Mhm.
we can also learn from other people what to do and what not to do. And that's why I don't argue. That's why I don't get into the back and forth. And I'm like, look, if what you're doing is working for you, have at it. Who am I to tell you anything different? But if you look around in your family, in your community, the mothers, the aunts, the sisters that you have, would you trade places with them?
Mm.
The way that they talk about men, do you want to be them when you're, 40, 50, and 60? Do
Yeah.
you see anything in their behavior that's admirable? And if so, have at it. But if you want a different outcome, you're going to have to make those changes now, because we are all living out the life for the seeds that we planted years ago. So when
Mhm.
we were in our 20s and 30s, we set the trajectory for what life was going to look like in our 40s and 50s. And now we take care of ourselves at this period of time, we can get to those 70s and 80s and beyond.
Yep.
So, there is no secret to this. It's really just about a diligence and being able to say, you know what, this is the decision that I'm making. This is what's best for me and my family. Nobody has to understand and nobody has to agree.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, I've been watching some of your cooking videos because I'm on a keto journey.
Yeah,
I got a diagnosis in December, fatty liver disease, and apparently what I have is not brought on by alcohol because I don't drink alcohol. It's
yeah.
because of sugar. So I'm like, okay, I need some, keto or sugar-free recipes. I don't know, protein. I was told to eat more protein.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying your cooking videos. Everything looks amazing. So, and then there's some where your sons are like tasting it, and that's so cute. I
Mhm.
love that. So
Appreciate that.
I
All
love
of us, life happens to all of us. And, I've always struggled with weight, but even if you don't, once we approach a certain age in life, our bodies naturally start to slow down, maybe break down a little bit. I used to be diabetic. Sorry, pre-diabetic. I used to have elevated cholesterol and borderline blood pressure. And so
Mhm.
when I went to my metabolic specialist, I got a list of foods that I can tolerate and then foods that I can't. So I started making substitutes for those foods. That's where the name Maggie, the substitute teacher, comes from. So,
Okay.
that's why even if it's for weight loss reasons or other reasons, we can enjoy things, but often we all have to make changes, especially as we age. We just can't eat the same way, sleep or not sleep the same way, drink
Mhm.
the same way. You're going to have to make some changes or your body's going to force you to. So I'm glad that content is helpful.
Yes, it is. Like I said, okay, we got Dr. L in the house. I forgot y'all was on. Greetings. Okay. Hey, Dr. L. Dr. L's hosting a Super Bowl party, y'all. So this is like he is blessing us with his presence. Okay. Because he was like, yeah, I'll be doing the Super Bowl. I was like, okay.
Um,
Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Check the ingredients and don't get things with sugar in it. Get things with cane sugar. There is a difference because our body recognizes real and not fake. Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because y'all, I'm struggling, but I'm trying to. Um, so I was told 60 grams or less a day. So basically, I'm eating meats, salads, vegetables. I can have that all I want. Yeah, they're just certain there's a list of like foods that I can have. Cottage cheese, I love milk, so I have whole milk. But I need to stay away from like the things I love, y'all, the baked goods, the bread. I gotta stay away from that stuff. But apparently it can be reversed. So I want to give y'all some hope. The doctor said it can be reversed in 2 or 3 months if I just tighten
Absolutely.
up my diet. Yeah.
It
So
definitely can. I like to say it's not what you eat some of the time, it's what you eat all of the time. So I try to take an 80-20 approach, and I
yeah.
travel and I love to taste all kind of different foods. Today's a holiday. We'll
Yeah.
watch the game and we'll have some snacks, but for
Yeah.
my regular day to day, I try to keep it really clean and then splurge when I'm out of the house.
All right, good. Okay, so Maggie, tell us what you have going on now. I saw something that just crossed my feed. I think it was yesterday. Tell
Mhm.
me what you got going on now that you can share with everybody.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of coming down the the downside
Yeah.
of, slowing down, Mr. President. That's my man.
Mhm.
Asked me to kind of, be more available. When my channel started, like I shared with you, I was just, cooking, and then, the relationship content started, and, people would ask me in the comments, "Maggie, do you have a book?" Okay,
Mhm.
now I have a manuscript. "Oh, do you do coaching?" "Well, yeah, I'll do coaching." Or, "Do you have a course?" And so I was just creating all these things in response to what people are asking for. So that's a great way to know if what you're doing is resonating with people, the feedback that
Mhm.
we get. That's why
Mhm.
media is social. And so, a big part of my personal journey is I remember when I got divorced, some of the comments from my ex-husband let me know how masculine I had become, and I
Yeah.
didn't realize it. I just thought I was chasing that goal, that next promotion. I had become competitive, louder, harsher, all of that, and for me, the divorce was very humbling and one of those things where, I'm one of those people that I work really hard at things and usually it turns out successful. And so to have a failed marriage, that was a huge check to my ego.
Yeah.
When I reconnected with Mr. President, who was somebody that I grew up with, he sat me down on the second date and he said, "These are my expectations. This is
Mm.
my timeline. This is what I will do for you. And this is what I need from you." And I had
Okay.
never had anybody just kind of shoot me straight like that. And I was thinking to myself, does he know who I am? But then do I want to go through that, again? And so I realized, he said, he was on an executive track to be one of the Black VPs in Atlanta. And I said, you know
Mm.
what? He's going to be in those spaces.
Yeah.
And I need to make sure that I am a complement to him. So I enrolled myself in finishing school and, a lot of the femininity stuff that I love. I teach from what I learned. Long-winded version, Lucy and I did start a finishing school, and
Awesome.
we teach ladies the finishing school for the modern woman. It's an 8-week course that we do in Zoom. We're currently enrolled, but we said that we're going to take a hiatus. So we have closed registration on that, and we have a big graduation in Atlanta. But I do have, because I have a heart for the women, and it's never been about um, selling anything. I would give it for free to everyone if I could. And so
Mhm.
for the women who, in my opinion, are walking the talk, meaning they are doing what they say, meaning they have
Mhm.
marriage, meaning they are prioritizing family, not, oh yeah, I want that too, but I got a train wreck behind me and can you help
Right.
me clean that up? I have I started a young mothers club and a young wives club, but I've combined those into the Maggie Wife School. And
Mm.
yeah, we meet once a month. It's just a session that I have. It's completely free for women under 40 who are married, who, like I said, are doing the best they can with the
Yeah.
limited support. And so I teach them um, from my own lived experience, the mistakes that I've made, and it
Mhm.
also gives them an opportunity to ask me questions, what they're dealing with in their marriage, um, for support and for coaching from
Yeah.
someone who really wants them to succeed. And so I will continue that. And who knows? I have some other things, but right now I'm at a position where um, I'm moving into that phase in life, and Mr. President said 2027 is my year. So,
Okay.
who knows? So we'll
Right. I'm excited for you. I'm excited. So yeah, I wanna see those wedding bells because I always tell my ladies, you're never too old um to find love and to become the most feminine version of yourself.
yeah.
I think we've all made mistakes. We've all made missteps. And yeah, in my mind now, I want to catch people young.
So
That's my archetype is 18 to 35, but I have women 40s, 50s that
oh,
look at my content. You're
there's
never
nothing
too
wrong
old.
with a second chance at love. I
Yeah.
100% agree. That's my story as well.
Yep.
I think we have to understand and be honest with ourselves. Men are the ones that establish relationships,
Mhm.
unless you're the type of woman who's going to buy a ring and propose, but I don't think that's what we really want. That's not the man that we would admire. So, because men are the ones that establish relationships, they hold the criteria for what they're looking for in a wife.
Mhm.
Most of the time when men marry, they marry because they want a family. And this
Mhm.
is hard to hear, but ladies, men are not just like, I love you and you love me, and I want to look into your googly eyes forever. A wife is a role. So you have to understand what that role is. And
Mhm.
my man told me, I told the ladies last night, whatever Bible you believe in, the story of Adam and Eve, God made Adam and gave him dominion over the earth, name the animals, do all these things. So Adam had his purpose before Eve was created.
Mhm.
That means the man's purpose is always going to come before his wife.
That's
And
right.
if women don't realize that our job is to be a support system to what
Mhm.
the man is already doing, and how can we help him succeed so that we all succeed together? If you think that getting married means that he's going to swim over broken glass and bring you a lemonade so you can just sit back and look cute, you will be perpetually single. So,
Yep.
having said that, most of the time, men want a family, men want legacy, they want their life and their name and uh, their memory to live forever.
Mhm.
So, if you are going to be with a man who wants a family, your best chance at getting what you want is in your prime years.
Right.
Again, 18 to you said 35, but that's that's beating the buzzer.
Yep.
Now, for those of us that are 40 plus, is it over for you? No, but
Mhm.
realize you're not in your family building years. So men marry, they may want companionship. They still want a woman to be his first lady. Every man
Mhm.
is looking for his first lady. Are you
Mhm.
task? Do you know how to support him? Do you know how to respect him? Do you know how to let him lead? Do you know how to not challenge him and question him all the time? Do you know how to communicate with a man? And so the problem is if you get to this age and you don't have any real relationship experience to speak of, you're going to be learning on the job. And then
Right.
as they age, their patience and their tolerance, they're not going to want to train us the way that they may do that with someone who's younger. So older women, you have to be ready right now, like my man says, and be um, how does he say, you got to blow me away, blow the competition away because of your maturity, because you know exactly what I need and you can anticipate those needs. So yeah, absolutely. I believe, love the second time around, but I had to get on his line because I'm not running it this time. But when you're younger, it's a beautiful window. And I just tell women, look, if you want marriage and family, go ahead and get the best that you can when you're
Yeah.
at your prime, because it's only going to get harder.
It does. It does. That's a harsh truth that many women don't want to hear. I can't tell you how many 40-year-old coaching clients or therapy clients I have.
Yeah.
And they, when I have to deliver that harsh news, oh, I'm 40, unmarried, no children. And now I'm going to find that 6, 7 figure and pop out 3 kids. I'm like, and I try to keep a poker face, but I'm like, oh, like, what?
You have to be honest with them, because I think, and I appreciate there are not you, but coaches who want women to believe you can have it all. I think that's hurting us. I
Yeah.
think we have to be honest. I think we have a responsibility to, if you think about it, you're a 40-year-old woman that's doing whatever you want to do. A man is going to look at that and say, how much am I going to have to really chip away at this for her to think of us as a family unit? Because again, men marry for family. The family comes first. Men think of the family before themselves. So if we want to be wives, we have to think about the family before ourselves. This whole thing, if mama ain't happy, nobody is happy, it's
Right.
keeping us single. And a 40-year-old woman, yes, you may be able to have children, but we all know that's the harder route. You're going to have bed rest. You're going to have all these things that are required. And when you look at a man who has already built himself, and if he is the apple of your eye, he's the apple of a lot of women's eyes too. So if he has options, because men are the one who propose, that's why it's a proposal, why would anybody choose the harder path? Why
Right.
would a man choose the harder path? Now, am I saying that a 40-year-old woman will not get married? No, I'm not saying that. But
Right.
you have to realize that you're not going to be that 25-year-old stay-at-home mom, because you can easily give him 3 kids back to back to back. It's
Right.
just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you adjust your expectations that, you know what, okay, maybe I'm not going to be able to have, children at all or a lot of children, but these are the ways that I can add value. I
Right.
know how to study your schedule, anticipate your needs. I can keep a warm and welcoming home. I can represent you well in public. I can make sure I never bring shame to your brand. I can be a proxy. I can be the woman of the house. I can be whatever you need me to be. And you lead with that,
Right.
as opposed to leading with, no, I look good. I can snatch it up in Spanx, and I'm just like the 25-year-old. You are not.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you are single if you think that way.
Right. Right. And yeah, I throw cold water on people every day, as I like to say,
Yeah,
because my saying is anything's possible, but everything isn't probable.
exactly.
So I am a science person. I am a numbers person. I'm a data person. And my people know that about me. I do have numbers. I love data.
Mhm,
And, they don't love that because I actually am a probability science fact-based person.
mhm.
But, that is what it is. It's
Yeah,
interesting you said that. I gave an assignment. I did a video that came out last week, and I actually gave an assignment to women, but some of the men have reached out to me saying they want to do it too.
okay.
And the assignment was write a list of everything you bring to that man. Like
Mm,
literally tell me every great thing about you that he would want, right? Everything that's great about you, whether it's your character, your integrity, you cook meals, um, you keep yourself healthy and fit, you're attractive, like just literally write out what are the benefits of being with you, of being in a relationship or marrying you. And
mhm.
what I did was I did a part 2 to that video where I wrote out my list of everything a man would get if he became my husband.
Okay.
And I had men flooding in the comments. They're like, "Oh wow, like, oh wow, Miss Anita, I want dinner 3 to 5 times a week, and I want breakfast 5 days a week." I was like, so I really encourage people to do that.
Yeah.
Like, get clear about what your value is to a good man,
Yeah.
right?
And that's the key to a good man. I think a lot of
Yes,
as women, when we listen to women who are speaking for men, we look at what we think is valuable and all
right.
their accolades and all of those traits that maybe mean something to you and your girlfriends. A
Yep.
man could look at that and say, that's useless to me. Okay, so you've traveled the world, you've been on every continent. That's
See?
great for you, but does the man that you want that? And that's one of the values that when we talk about older women teaching the young, the
Mm,
older women were teaching from grandpa or uncle or whatever. They had men that were coaching them, and so
yep.
they speak from that lived experience. And now that we have the breakdown of the family and so many single women that not only do
Mm,
have men will tell you straight up they want men and have nothing but bad things to say about men. These
mm,
are the ones that are spewing that venom into the young women and telling them you don't need a man, you can do bad all by yourself, and then you
mm.
think that that's gospel and it is not. So yeah, I would just say, ladies, if you're going to do that assignment, which I think is a great self-reflection, find a man that you admire and respect. It could be a neighbor, a brother, an uncle. Have him look at that list and
Yep.
ask him for his honest opinion. Don't just go blindly into the night saying that I'm great, I'm a 10, I have nothing to work on. Let somebody tell you, you know what, you got a little bit of a mean streak. You got a little bit of a temper. Allow somebody to coach you on that. I had
Mhm.
that I shout when I speak. I didn't know that.
Mm.
Someone told me that, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, I can work on
See?
it." But if you don't allow people to correct you, you're just gonna continue on thinking that you're wonderful. So yeah, run that list by the men that you admire and then see how many things remain.
Okay, we had a comment here. Is it Keys? I guess it's Keys 3804. Why does that exercise make me uncomfortable? Doesn't say much for me, I guess.
Yeah,
I can pull mine up and I can tell y'all I have over 50 things on the list. Like you should have a substantial amount of things. Um and it's funny because I've had more than a few men look at this list and say, "Yup, yup, yup, I love it. I love it." You know? So, yeah, it's a
I'm
self-reflection.
it
It's a
is.
self-reflection, yeah, and we need that.
I'm not gonna disagree. I'm gonna push back a little bit, and I know Killa, she's one of my day
Okay,
ones.
okay.
Um, Ladies, if we are asked to self-reflect and it makes us uncomfortable, let's get away from the relationship topic because people get triggered by that. I remember when I reconnected with my man, he asked me to put a spreadsheet together of my expenses, and he wanted to know how much do you cost. And I remember
Mm,
that moment, but I did it because he asked me
okay.
to. And I sat down and, income and, the whole balance sheet and everything, I gave it to him. And his response was, okay, I can handle that. I was panicking because I thought it was going to be some type of scolding. Now,
Mm,
but because I know the truth, I can get a little impulsive. I'm one of those that I can go to the store for one thing and come back with 12 things. We all have our thing. So circling back to the question, if someone asks you to talk about what you bring to the table or why should I pick you in a relationship and you start to panic, that means you already know the truth.
mm, mm,
Wallow in that moment, or we can
yep,
say, you know what, I can work on this. And especially when we're
yeah,
talking about older women, one of the things that I had to learn when speaking to older women, which actually really frustrated me, is when I would take the time to coach them and they would say, you know what, my ex told me that. Or you
mhm,
know what, you're like the third person to tell me that. And I just wanted to scream because I'm like,
yeah,
ladies, we do not get to this point in life and nobody's told you about yourself. You
see?
want to listen. And so I am not going to take time out of my happy and peaceful life to be
Mm,
the seventh person to tell you that. So
yeah,
save yourself time and save us all stress. Think back to the feedback that you've gotten from friends or family or men, relationships that ended, and really do that audit. And like I said, I was going to push back a little bit, Miss Anita. You said you should have a list of 50 things only if you've prioritized it.
Okay.
You can get to this
Okay.
age, and it's unfortunate, but we do have women in our age group that really don't know how to bring value to a man. They've just
Mhm.
having fun for so long that
Mm,
when a serious man asks you a serious question, you're like
mm,
headlights because you really haven't been prioritizing it. It is a skill. Relationships are a skill like anything else, and you're only
yep,
going to master that skill. Public speaking, good with
yep.
your finances, eating well, exercising. You're only going to master any skill if you prioritize it and work on it. So I would just add that.
That's it. No, you are 100% right. So, as a couples therapist, I tell people that's my spiel, that having a healthy, happy, fulfilling long-term marriage, it is a skill. It's a set of skills.
It is.
And the grandfather of marriage counseling, Dr. John Gottman, he studied marriage for 40 plus years, and he actually boiled down
Mm.
a set of skills that he teaches. And because I'm Gottman trained, I teach it.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And you simply have to be willing to learn and implement those skills.
Hmm.
It's really simple. So it frustrates me too when people are either not grasping, they're not applying. That drives me crazy because I'm like, just do it. Like, just do it. Just do this over and over. Okay. And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, Anita was right. This is great. Like,
It's
yeah.
tr I think we make it harder than it has to be, and I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say, we know. Ladies, we know. We know what men expect of us, and the reason why I'm gonna be so bold as to say that, when a woman has worn herself out, almost like, when you have a kid and like, "I'm not tired. I'm not tired." You just
Yep.
have to let them wear out, and then you're like, "Mhm, okay, you'll learn."
Yep.
When I talk to older women that now they're ready, life has knocked them about and now they're ready, they
Mm,
come out with it. They remember the man that asked them, you know what, we need to tighten up the budget a little bit here, or maybe we can't take this trip, or you know what, I don't want you to disagree with me in public. Let's save those conversations from home at home. Women know what men
mm,
want. We just don't want to do it.
yep.
So ladies, you got to ask yourself, what is it about me? Why am I fighting this thing that I'm ultimately going to want? Because it's not going to go away, but it is going to get easier. The first time someone said they want to see the spreadsheet, the first
Mm,
time I was
see?
asked for an accountant, I was like, but now
See?
it's like, all right, let me see the documentation. Here you go. But
Yep.
it came from being, dare I say, I'll just say agreeable. It came from being easily and happy to submit, because when you've chosen wisely and
Mm,
you have a good man, you
yeah.
know that he wants the best for you, and he's not going to do anything that's going to hurt you. And
That's
so
right.
to let that go, take that death grip off of the steering wheel. And I
Yeah.
like to tell ladies, we need to do less but be more.
That's it. That's it. And it's just like you said, if you choose a good man,
Yeah,
you should trust that man. You should believe that his intention for you is good. That's
absolutely.
what I don't understand. What's all this pushback? Like, you chose him. So,
We have to take responsibility for that, ladies. And, that's one of the things that older women were really good at. And I think
yes, yes.
cultures, this is where we are losing. Other cultures, the mothers and the aunties and the grandmothers will steer their daughters and coach
Mhm.
their daughters to the men that are going somewhere. I cannot stand it. The first time I show a picture or someone sees, a new couple, and the first thing you hear is, "Ooh, he's cute."
Mhm.
That have to do with anything? Now, yes, you want to be attracted to your man and you want him to be attracted to you, but does he have a vision? Does he have a life goal? What is his purpose? Can he communicate that to you? Does he want a family? Does he want you as part of that family? Where does he see himself going? And is there a woman? And is that woman you in his future? So many questions that I think we can do a better job helping our young women choose. Now, look, if you have that information, but you like that fun boy over there or that street boy over there, you love that fast life over there, and that's what you choose, that's what you chose. But you can't say, nobody told me. That's our
That's it.
responsibility to offer it. But if they choose to, live that fast life, we
That's it. And remember, life is about trade-offs.
it is.
Keep talking about that. Life is about trade-offs. If you look at something on one side of that coin, just flip it over and see what's on the other side.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
I think especially when you talk about feminists, my man and I talk about this, I think there is a misconception that women have that, let's just say in the professional space,
Mhm.
these, boys clubs, and they're just loving every minute of it, right?
Mhm.
Realize how much men sometimes hate their jobs, hate that backbreaking work, hate the being out in the cold or the heat or the danger that comes with their job, but they choose that so that they can provide for the family at home. So when we think, oh, I want what you have, or I can do everything you can do, are
Mm.
we willing to sacrifice? Are we willing to get up late? I mean, get up early and stay late?
Mhm.
Are we willing to, work until we're in such, we're racked with pain? I don't think we are taking in all of the information and choosing wisely. None of us can have it all at the same time.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, and I people know my story.
Mm.
I was married. I was a stay-at-home mother for 12 years. I did not work. Um, and that I always tell people that was the most glorious time of my life,
Really?
was truly serving my husband and my family. But guess what, ladies? I wasn't making any money. I wasn't, getting any hair done or nails done or, going to Dubai,
Right.
but that was what I chose.
Yeah.
That was the life that I chose.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, now that I'm older, I'm no longer married. My children are all grown,
Yeah.
but I do have a pretty fantastic life. I am able to go places and do things,
Yeah.
because I set my life up that way.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
just want women to understand the trade-offs that, like you said, you're not going to have everything all at once.
Mm.
Um, I believe, like you, that family and children are the greatest investment of our time, of our energy, our money.
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe that. I would never make a different choice.
Yeah.
But I have come across women who don't want to have children. And so as I tell people, my stance is changing. Like, okay, I'm not trying to make everybody have kids. so, so
Absolutely.
I,
I think
yeah,
we should be honest about that, and
yeah,
I love that you shared that. I mean, being a mom, having been a wife and mother is my greatest accomplishment, and like you, I have a lot of accomplishments on paper. I
yeah,
never try to say that, all women should have children. I think you
yeah.
should, and I was married 6 years before we had the children, so we took
Mhm.
to travel and do things, but everything was very, um on a limited budget because that's how it's
Mhm.
supposed to be when you're just starting out in your
Yep.
starter home with a beater car. And I think as older women, we do have a responsibility to tell younger women, you may see me now traveling a certain way, but when
Yes.
I was your age,
Mhm.
it was the Red Roof Inn, it was the Greyhound bus,
Mhm. Mhm.
it happened. And when you aspire for something different that fuels you during those times when it's tough. I mean, hand me down clothes or whatever you have to do to sacrifice, but it's so much more worth it when you've had to work for it and
Right.
earn it. And what we see with a lot of younger people who want it now. Okay, so you have it all. And then they're still not happy. They're still chasing, what's next. So yeah, I think that we have to be really honest about it. But what I see, I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
sometimes women who think, oh, I'll do the family thing later, and later is not an option for them. I'm not talking about the women who don't want it and they stay that way. I think that regret that they carry to the grave is something that I can't even imagine, because they thought they were in control of the timeline. And it's just heartbreaking when a woman wants a family and it's just not a possibility for her
I
anymore.
know. Whew. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I agree, and sometimes I don't know what to say, right? My heart goes out to them and I empathize, but, I can be hard. I admit it, I can be hard, and I always say, we do the things that we want to do.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and
There's
even though my marriage didn't make it, I
Yeah.
wanted to be married. I wanted to have some kids, and I squeezed out 3 of them. So,
I'm telling you, I wanted to be married. I loved
yeah.
being married. And one of the
Mhm.
things that I tell, I've said this before, but especially older women, those of us that are doing it second time around, maybe through divorce, men have an appreciation for women who prioritized marriage and family
Mhm.
prime years.
Mhm.
So if you look at somebody who's 50 plus, and you and I were married for over a decade, had 2 or 3 kids, it
Mhm.
is part of our track record that we can, when you talk about your list of what you bring to the table, we have a demonstrated track record of
Yep.
being able to work with a man and prioritize family.
Yep.
Even if it doesn't work out and unfortunately ends in divorce, I'm not selling you a hill of beans and telling you, oh yeah, I can be just like that. Oh yeah, I can be everything you want me to be. Then when he starts asking questions, that's when people get nervous, because they know they don't have what it takes to back it up. So I think those are the women, especially, who have a better chance of love second time around. It's just going to
Mhm.
be a much harder sell when you have 30 years of me, myself, and I,
Right.
and then you're trying to convince a man that you really want to be a wife.
Yeah.
Why would he choose that?
Yeah, or 40 or 45.
It's true.
You're 45 and you didn't prioritize, if this is what you say you wanted, right? You didn't prioritize that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Women
it's
don't
tough.
really realize too is that, I know sometimes we think it's harsh and we just want men
Yeah,
to take our word for it, and believe me, but that's not gonna happen,
yeah.
because life is very harsh for the men. There is
Mhm.
no man out here that we admire and respect. And, I'm a boy mom, we have a Marine, we have another
Mhm.
one on the way, graduating, but no man that's worth his salt can say, just trust me on that one.
Right.
Men know, and men are raised that you got to show up, you
Yep.
have to deliver, you have to, they can't even, that's how it was when we were coming up. A man couldn't even ask for a woman's hand in marriage unless you had your list of how you're going to make sure that she's taken care of.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
uh, we we are basically getting the same treatment that has been kicking men, in the teeth all of these years. And
Yeah.
I support that for them. I would never ask a man, my son, your son, anybody's son,
Yep.
to hamstring their future success on the promise of someone who hasn't demonstrated
Right.
what she's actually going to be able to do. We asked them to show me what you got. I think
Yep.
we should be ready to show them what we've got.
Right. And I just said this. I just said this in a video that I put out. I said that to me is some of the good things that is coming out of what's happening.
Mm,
Men are waking up to their value and their worth.
yeah,
And they're starting to vet, and they're starting to choose, better women. They're starting to have a standard. I
yeah.
believe everyone should have a standard.
Right. If they choose at all, and that's what we
Yeah.
have to realize. I mean, like you said, marriage is on the decline. And then in our community, our women, what, 1/4 of the time. So we need to take this thing seriously if that's what we want.
Mhm.
Marriage is very serious. And again, you and I are both examples. There's no guarantee, but if you go into it with positive intent and you give your best, it definitely puts you farther ahead. And yeah, absolutely have a standard. And the other thing we have to realize is we're not just competing in our community anymore. One of the things that modern technology has brought all of us is that we're closer, we're
Yep.
easily accessible, and every day. And here's the thing, ladies, even when you have a man, I know there's always somebody who's, chomping at the gate, waiting for you to mess up. I'm not saying that you need to be paranoid about it, but you need to be always competing because we expect our men to be always working for us. We need to
Right.
maintain it the way that we got it.
That's right. Be his best option.
I
Be
love
his best option.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's why my list got 50 things. and most men are like, yeah, I don't think I can do better than this. This is pretty good. So just be his best option.
There you
That's
go.
it. That's it. Thank you, Miss Maggie. Thank you so much for
Oh,
blessing the platform, for blessing us today on this Super Bowl Sunday.
yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm gonna go to a friend's. I'm gonna have some pizza and hang out, and I'm probably not gonna watch none of the game, and I'm probably not gonna watch the halftime show.
Whether you watch the game or the commercials or the halftime show, or you're just there for the snacks, you all be
Yeah,
safe.
for the food. Yeah.
I'll be cooking. We'll have some stuff around here too, but I really
Good.
appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience. So thank you for having me.
Yes. And tell us all the platforms that you're on. So I'm familiar with Instagram and YouTube, but
Yeah.
you're also on other platforms.
I'm everywhere, and I put the same thing everywhere. So on your favorite platform, I am Maggie, the substitute teacher. You can find me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and I still call it Twitter because I'm old, on X.
Yeah.
I make food and femininity content. Right now, I'm doing cooking streams about once a week on Fridays. And then relationship streams have kind of tapered off, but at least once a month I'll do a live. But I do post every day, whether it's a clip or, something. So I stay pretty engaged. So thank you all so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Welcome.
I'm gonna put this shout out just because Dr. L does this.
Yeah.
Please like this video. I'm only gonna say it once though. Please like this video. So regardless of whose platform you're watching it on, it could be Miss Maggie, it could be mine, but understand the life of a lowly content creator and that, liking, sharing, subscribing. If you have membership, like if Maggie has membership, become a member. I have membership. I just want you to support the life of lowly content creators. Okay. So I was just going to say it one time. I wasn't going to beat y'all over the head. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation. In my humble opinion, it was a long time coming because I feel like we're running on parallel tracks. Like in these spaces, we're kind of talking about similar things. And let's hope more aunties, let's hope more older women like pick up that baton because I do think that is that should be a part of our responsibility that we can keep a lot of women from going in the ditch. Right? We can be helpful to a lot of younger women from writing their marriage off in a ditch or, their life off in a ditch. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing and hopefully people will appreciate it and they'll support it. So this is my last pitch, you all. It's for the brand new ebook that just came out, The 21 Feminine Principles. You can find it on my pillar link. It is an ebook. So you are going to purchase and download it and begin reading it right then. It is for my ladies. It is all about just the principles that I've taught to my daughters about how to have healthy self-worth, healthy self-esteem. It's not just about male and female relationships, but it's really just about how to feel good as a woman in your own skin. I think we don't talk about that enough. And women today, to me, they're really struggling just feeling good. Right? I feel so good every day. I wish I could just give that to everybody. So I see people feeling so down. And I'm like, man, I need to give you some of what I got because I love being a woman, y'all. Y'all know that. I love being a woman. So please check that out. Please check out everything that Maggie has to offer. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, stay open to love.
Yeah.